In this video, I will give you a challenge. And the challenge is all about proving that you can build speed and that you can do it at a new level, no matter what level you're on. And we're going to use legato as an example, but it could be alternate picking, could be economy picking, could be anything. And I'm going to give you or provide you with a focus on all the most important elements of how to do this. And you must focus on them all. You must get everything right. Because if you don't get everything right, you will fail. This is like a recipe, right? You got a cake and you put in the ingredients, and if there's no cinnamon in your cinnamon bun, it won't be a cinnamon bun. So you have to do the right things at the beginning in order for you to actually be able to pull the right kinds of cakes out of the oven, right? And that's where we go wrong. That's the most severe mistake we make, is that we think that legato is just hammer-ons and pull-offs, or alternate picking is just up and down, right? You alternate pick. We're talking about that before. But in this video, I'm going to give you the recipe. And if you are with me here on this challenge, you will follow this for 4 weeks and you will do exactly as I said. And then I will hear from you, because you're going to write me an email and say, wow, this is what works. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon below the video, and don't forget to download our free course by clicking the link in the description. So I'm going to just take you to the fretboard close up, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do, because the first thing we must focus on, whatever technique you're applying, but in this case legato, is to do it with accuracy and precision. And I can say that, but what does that mean? What do you mean, Claus? Yeah, I'm doing it accurately. The notes are coming out. What are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that we need to practice what we want to become good at. So if we just say, okay, am I doing a hammer-on? Yeah, that was 3 hammer-ons. Oh, yeah, and pick stroke and 2 hammer-ons. Am I doing the pull-offs? Yeah, I'm doing the pull-offs. So I just start practicing that. And then I will practice, and then pretty quickly I'll be faster, right? So I start practicing fast, and I start doing it. And I'm making progress. And at some point, I'm hitting the roof. I mean, I can't go beyond this point. And the reason for that, and most people hit this roof, and I did so too with every technique I practiced. I just couldn't move beyond a certain level, right? You know the feeling, I guess, if you're watching this video. And the reason is that what I've been practicing will not take me any further than this. You must, work this level as a scientist and say, okay, what does it take to go beyond that? Well, what I've been practicing cannot be done at this level. What I've been practicing when it comes to alternate picking cannot be pushed to this level. It only goes so far. So if you start practicing the right thing right now, then you can push it, but you have to go back a bit. Let me show you what I mean close up when it comes to legato. I'm just going to give you a couple of sequences, 2 or 3, that you can work on. I recommend that you only work on 1, but just so you have a couple of things to choose from. So what does legato really mean when we're talking accuracy and precision and performing the technique? Well, it consists of different little elements, doesn't it? We have a hammer-on, right? We have a pull-off, and we have, going from string to string. We want to pick the string. So we have pick strokes as well, either with your finger, as in hybrid picking, or with your pick. So those are the elements. And let's just take a simple exercise like going on 1 string. See, the first thing you focus on is holding your hand like this. So you have that kind of relaxed claw feeling in your hand, because that gives you really, when you place your thumb on the back of the neck in the middle, and not over here, but in the middle, and then you have your relaxed hand, you get a really cool angle from the fingers in towards the fretboard. And that enables you to use your fingertips. This is not what you would do intuitively, because the fingertips are harder than any other part of the finger that you can hit the string with. This is really efficient. This is where you get the best hammer-ons and pull-offs, when you hold your hand like this. But this is also where you need the most amount of accuracy, precision, in order to hit the freaking string. Because when you hit it, the pinky is the worst, right? Because it's so small. When you hit it with this little tiny area here, at the end of your pinky, And then, of course, when you hit a very thin string, you have to hit it just right on. And we're talking tenths of millimeters, right? So that suddenly gives you another challenge. So what people often do is that they tend to pull their hand just a little bit like this, and then you can hit it with the side, and then you can hit it much faster. It's much easier. But once you try to take that up to speed, then it doesn't work anymore. You can only get so far, and you'll just be dissatisfied with your technique. It doesn't really work as well. And so really go to this point here, and if you've been playing legato like this, which also works, right, at a certain level, but if you want that high level technique and you want to be able to take it to the highest level, then you do like this, and then you start practicing, right? And when you're accurate, then you don't have to use all the power, right? You don't have to slap in towards the string anymore, because you hit just behind the fret wire with just the hardest part of the finger, right? And that gives you the sound. When you pull off, you don't have to use a lot of force either, because you have that, your fingers are standing up on the string. So it's really, it's nothing, right? And this is a clean sound, right? And a really good exercise to do this is to go because that's really the hardest part, right? Having to do a hammer-on and pull-off with your pinky while you actually fret the note just behind it with your third finger. Something happens in the muscles there. So let me just play that slowly for you. So that's a really good exercise just for training those muscles. But when you then start, let's take a sequence like this. Just that. To just play that for you slowly. And I'm playing here in the key of C minor on the top two strings, where I get this combination of notes. So I have a semitone and a whole tone. And on the next string, I have a whole tone and a semitone. So I get to use both the second and the third finger. So I won't be practicing for months using this shape only. I'll have both shapes, right? So I have it all included. So I just play the same thing on each string. I play on that string, and then, all right? So, and once I've got that accuracy up and running, I want the accuracy of playing each note with the same amount of volume, so which is equally important. So you don't get this. Sorry. Doesn't sound great, right? Simply because each note has a different volume to it, or strength. So what you do is, when you go from string to string and you pick the string, you pick it less lightly or less hard than your hammer-ons and pull-offs, right? Because we tend to go, right? And when we get that extra, we don't want that. We don't want that accent, because we want a flowing set of notes. So what I do is I pick it as lightly as I possibly can. I don't want that pick stroke to sound louder than any of the other things. And that it demands an incredible amount of focus to make sure that you do that. Because we're so used to, right? So really think about that. You can also use your middle finger for those, because it has a lot softer attack, because you slide the tip of your finger over the string, so you don't get that. Instead, this is the finger, this is the pick, right? So, and you then in the beginning you use an enormous amount of focus, and really as you practice, and it seems really boring and cumbersome and everything else, but it's not, because you're so intensely focused on accuracy. And And even if that feels just a little bit wrong, that pinky, or this feels just a little bit wrong, are you hitting it with the tip of your finger or not? Is this a perfect hammer-on? And if there's any weakness anywhere, you isolate the challenge and just do that. Yeah. Nah, not so good. Nah, not so good either. There we go. There we go. That's right on. Right? Right? And then you practice at that level. Let me just give you a couple of sequences that you can use for this. I really recommend that you stay in the 6-note pattern, but you can take it across the fretboard here. So you could go, or just go. Right? Or I can go just that instead of going back again. Right? On one string. Or I can go. I'm actually not picking here at all. Right? So those are some exercises. Another really cool little sequence. So point 1, hold your hand like this. That you must focus on this all the time, otherwise you just slip away from it. It's not doing the old thing again. Fingertips, like an extreme focus on having the fingertips go directly in towards the fretboard. Hit the string right on. The most effective, most accurate hammer-on you can possibly imagine. And you can feel it in your fingers when you're not hitting it right on. Do not accept anything but the best, right? Relax in your hand. If you tense up, you can't practice for more than 5 minutes. Then you have to, right? So relaxed. Practice at a level where you can get everything right. No straining and stressing. And then stay there. And then that automatically becomes faster and faster. Right? So once you have the technique down, and you start working with actually practicing the technique, in detail, and you focus on accuracy and precision the whole way through, then the next thing you start to do is to measure. And if you got like a sequence like, let me see, let's say I can play that 25 times a minute, right? I set my watch, I stop watch, and then I say, okay, I can play this rate here. That's the rate, right? Where I can get everything right. Fingertips, everything, right? And it seems it's relaxing. I'm not stressing anything. And so 25, okay. So how much is that per hour? And how much is that, if I can practice 1 hour a day, what does that add up to? And then I can start really calculating what it looks like in a month. Let's just look at that on the screen. So I just made a quick mock-up here. You can do an Excel sheet for yourself where you can have it calculate all the numbers for you. But let's say I can do, as I said, 25 repetitions a minute. And then I calculate and say, okay, I got 1 hour a day to practice. So that would be 1,500 repetitions in that hour, right? And if I got 30 days a month, which is not, always, but let's just say 30 days, gives me 45,000 repetitions of the same little sequence in the same place on the neck, perfect, accurate repetitions. And so let's say that these 45,000 repetitions makes me twice as fast, which is not very fast. So this is not impossible at all. This is very, very realistic. So I can now do 50 repetitions a minute because I've become twice as fast. 1 hour a day still gives me 3,000 repetitions in a day. And that gives me 90,000 repetitions in February, right? So now I've become pretty good at this. And I can do 100 repetitions in a minute that are accurate, precise, with a relaxed hand, and I do everything right. So 1 hour a day gives me 6,000 repetitions, which gives me 180,000 repetitions a day. Let's say you did 2 hours a day. You enrolled your family and you said, hey, I need to practice 2 hours a day. I can do 90 minutes in front of the TV watching a movie with you every night, and then 30 minutes of total focus with a metronome in my room alone, right? That's 2 hours a day, giving me 1,500 times 2, which is 3,000. So I start here with 3,000 repetitions, which means 90,000 repetitions on the first month, which then again would give me twice the result, which gives me 180 already after 4 weeks. So this is just, imagine you could do 3 hours a day, right? So this is what, and it becomes an exponential growth curve. The more you practice, the more you can practice in the same amount of time. But if your focus is diverted, or you drop out of this plan, or you're no longer thinking about it, which happens to 99% of every guitar player, then you will never reach this momentum. So you will never feel the magic of this process. So my challenge to you is to do this, to measure how fast you are when you are being absolutely 100% accurate. And then stepping back and saying, I'm not going to do any more repetitions of something that isn't perfect, right? And then I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure how many repetitions I do in a minute, and then I'm going to times that up. I'm going to create a plan and say, I'm going to do this for 1 hour every single day for 1 month, and I won't miss a day. See, this is where it becomes really, really doable to get to 1 million repetitions over a couple of months. It really is. And that is the secret. And so when people come to me and say, hey, Claus, I can't develop speed, did you do this? Did you measure? Did you do everything perfect? Did you make sure that the technique you're practicing can actually be taken to maximum of human capacity when it comes to how fast you can really move your fingers? To this day, for 40 years, I've never had anybody come to me and say, I did 1 million repetitions. They were all close to perfect, right? I did a couple of mistakes, of course, but they were all, as I've been describing to you. And, I improved my technique. But, it never happened, because what we don't see is that, this kind of, that speed with which we're playing, when it looks magical, we don't see that it looks magical because the actions we took to get there were actually totally out of the ordinary. So we have an out of the ordinary technique. And that does not come from talent, which we think is out of the ordinary, right? It's only the select few who has enough talent to do that. So it looks, it's magic, it's talent. No, it's magic because if you saw what that guy did in order to create that magic, you would say, wow, that's a different way of practicing. But you can do the same thing using your intelligence instead, by measuring, which is enormously motivating, by focusing on the project of getting to 10,000 repetitions, getting to 100,000, and then saying, okay, can I get to 500,000 repetitions? Can I get to 1 million in 3 months? And suddenly, boom, you're in the millionaire club. You're in the select 1% of 1% who's actually doing a thing like this. Because we dabble with guitar, don't we? It's fun, we love it, and we practice, and then we play a little lick, then we play something else, then we get sidetracked. That solo sounds amazing, then we go there. So please do this. It works. And then I'll see you once you hit the 1 million mark. And I look forward to hearing from you. Write me a mail from the website guitarmastery.net, and then I hope to see you in another video.